Let's install some insulation and frame out these walls in my basement laundry room. So I have two walls that I'm going to be installing this insulation and framing onto. Now there's two ways that I'm going to do it, and I want to just quickly note that there are so many different ways to do this, and this is just what's going to work for me the best and the way to save some space in my basement laundry room. So the first way that I'm going to do it is just put up this purple insulation. This is high performance insulation. It's for moisture. It's great for basements. So I'm going to put up this purple insulation, and then we're going to add the framing, and the framing is what's different. So I am going to be doing this two different ways. One way will save on space, and the other way is kind of the standard way to build framing, except for I'm doing it slightly different because I don't have a framing nail gun. I'm going to be using screws and pocket holes. I know it's not the ideal way that most people say to do it, but it's going to work for me, so that's what we're going to do. So first off, we're going to start by putting up this purple insulation, and then we'll frame out the walls. So something awesome about this foam insulation is that it just requires a razor knife, so a utility knife, to cut it, and it's so easy. You just use some construction adhesive to put it up against the wall, and that will secure it into place. And then we add the framing right up against it to make sure it doesn't move anywhere. After the insulation is installed, you will apply a tape to seal any seams together. Make sure this tape works for foam insulation. I want to note that there is a certain way to build walls. You always have a top plate and a bottom plate with studs in between, and windows and doors need some extra bracing, and studs are usually 16 on center. With that in mind, I have to do the bottom plate for this framing. I am using pressure treated wood because it will be directly in contact with the concrete. I'm also going to use these special bolts that will allow me to drive it into the concrete. With the one wall, the shorter wall, you will notice that I had to drill a little bit deeper into the pressure treated wood to be able to get the bolt to actually be able to work. I'm also using my Bosch rotary hammer to drill into the concrete to allow these bolts to work. Some of the studs need to be cut to fit piping. I'm just using a jigsaw here to cut these pieces. As I mentioned earlier, I am using a pocket system to attach the framing together. After all the framing is installed, it's time to install the final insulation. I am using 1.5 inches on the wall that has the 2x4s turned, and then I'm just using a regular insulation for the other wall because it fits perfectly into the space. After all the insulation is installed, it's time to add drywall, or in my case, I am adding a paneling. And this paneling is to look like shiplap. I found this really easy to install. It was very lightweight, easy to cut. As you can see, I am just using my jigsaw to cut it out. After cutting it out, I always do a test fit. Once it fits into the space, then I just nail it onto the studs. To finish up the paneling, I use a spackling paste to fill all the nail holes. Once that is dry, I sand it smooth. Then I also caulk all the seams to make sure that they are a seamless finish. And then I finish it off with a coat of paint. I did have to take a paintbrush to get into all the grooves because the roller wasn't doing a very good job. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you're curious, here is the laundry room after cabinets and the floor was painted. I have a full tutorial on that coming soon.